Hello students, this is a short revision video on Essay 299 Joint Audit of Financial Statements. When we talk about joint audit, of course this is for CA final audit, so I will not explain what is joint audit. But technically yes, there are provisions in section 139 subsection 2 of Companies Act, audit of insurance company, section 139 subsection 3 sorry of Companies Act and audit of insurance companies, where we have discussed about joint audit in our technical discussions also. But this is from the essay perspective. That means as joint auditors of the company, what are you going to do over there? So what is your responsibility? First of all, planning, risk assessment and allocation of work. So when we talk about audit planning and audit strategy, joint auditors need to develop a joint audit strategy, joint audit plan, and for that what are the factors to be considered? This is very much similar to SA 300. What are the factors to be considered in developing joint audit strategy? First, as joint auditors, they need to decide the division of audit areas. Now if you get a question on division of audit areas, then it could be product based division, it could be financial year period based division, like quarterly division or so, or it could be dividing line items, financial items. All right, so there can be various division of audit areas basis that can be taken. So identify division of audit areas, correct? This is a separate theory question, stay focused. All right, then they need to find out what could be the reporting objectives over here, what will be the reporting responsibilities. Accordingly they need to plan their timing and communication and stuff. Yes, then what are the important factors to direct their joint audit team? So there will be separate teams for the joint auditors. And then consider the results of preliminary engagement activities. But what are preliminary engagement activities? That is discussed in essay 300. I'll just give you one line brief. The activities that are performed at the beginning of every year, every audit engagement. All right, like getting a clarity about the scope of audit, SA 210, or ensuring compliance with ethical requirements, SA 220, correct? These are preliminary engagement activities, and accordingly decide the nature, timing and extent of resources to be required by each joint auditor. All right, so identifying the division of audit areas, then reporting objectives, then team efforts. All right, results of preliminary engagement activities, and then nature, timing and extent of resources. R for resources, so doctor, TRP. These are the points to be considered for developing joint audit plan and joint audit strategy. Then there are some individual points for risk assessment and allocation of work, that I've put up over here. These points, just the knowledge will be important over here. As a joint auditor, they need to find out what is the risk of material misstatement in the overall financial statement level, and what is the risk of material misstatement pertaining to each area of the joint auditor allocated. So whatever each area has been allocated to the joint auditor, what is the risk pertaining to that each area? So they need to do a risk analysis. Very important for MCQ. They need to obtain common engagement letter and common written representation letter. Yes, so there will be common engagement letter, the letter of engagement, and common written representation, which will be taken at the end of the audit. So this is before starting the audit, and this is at the end of the audit. Work allocation document must be signed. If the work allocation document is not in writing, if it is not signed, then in that case, it is not considered as if the work has been divided. Then for all the areas, all the joint auditors will have a joint and several liability. So work allocation document must be signed by all joint auditors, and it should be communicated with TCWG. So as I told you, these individual points can be very important for solving MCQs and case study. Engagement partner of each joint auditor and other key members of each joint audit team shall come together and shall be involved in planning the audit. All right, so that is okay. But the very important part for case study comes over here, responsibility division amongst joint auditors. But before I go to that, so this is a 4 marks question over here, and a couple of points over here important for MCQ, correct? Yes sir, yes sir. All right, just a minute. Now we are coming to this part of responsibility division amongst the joint auditors. So for the areas which have been clearly divided, for example, if I am looking after purchase and income, and if you are looking purchase and expense, let us say I am looking after, and you are looking after income and assets, then in that case these areas are divided. Divided means divided. I will be looking after the areas which are given to me. You will be looking after the areas which are given to you. All right. Okay. So we are individually responsible for the areas allocated to each joint auditor. For that particular area, studying their internal control system, testing their controls, and also ascertaining the nature, timing, extent of the procedures. These things, everything will be divided, and I will be responsible for verification of whole and sole verification of purchase and expenses, and you will be responsible for whole and sole verification of income and sales. I need not even ask you how you have performed the procedure, and you need not even ask me how I have performed the procedure for the areas which have been clearly divided. All right. Okay. Each joint auditor is allowed to assume that other joint auditors have performed work as per essays, not required to review the work performed by other joint auditor. Yes sir, yes sir. Okay. For which areas we are jointly and severally responsible. I think first point is very clear. For the work which is not divided, for the work which could not be divided, we are going to be jointly and severally responsible. Then for any decision which was jointly taken by us regarding some common audit areas, we will be jointly responsible. For example, if stock audit was a common audit area, then how to perform stock audit and what will be the checklist, what will be the locations where our team will visit, these decisions would have been taken jointly by us, then we are going to be jointly responsible. Hello. But let us say there are 5 locations. In one location you send your joint audit team, another location I send my joint audit team. Then whatever execution happened at the ground level at that individual location will be a separate responsibility. Correct? But yes, in selecting the locations, developing checklists, so whatever common decisions we have taken regarding planning of the procedures for the common audit areas, we will have joint responsibility. However, when separate teams are visiting, I mean my team is visiting at Mumbai and your team is visiting at Delhi, then whatever happened in that Mumbai and Delhi place visit for inventory verification, that was individual responsibility, because at that point of time the work got divided. Correct? All right. Yes. Okay. Now, obviously, when I was performing any procedure, I brought some matter to your notice on which we had a common conclusion. We had discussion, we wrote it, and we have a written common conclusion for that. Then in that case, we will have a joint responsibility for that particular matter. All right, matters brought to notice by one JA and on which there is an agreement amongst all JA. Then, hello, I am verifying, let us say, liabilities and expenses. You are verifying income and asset. Then in that case, all right. All test of controls, test of details we did separately and we were separately responsible for that. All right. But at the end, when the financial statements are prepared, that particular format of Schedule 3 and the statutory disclosures, at least that we should see together. So examining that financial statements of the entity comply with the relevant law, correct? So that will be we need to see together. Then presentation and disclosure also needs to be seen together of the financial statements as required by AFRF. So LPD, law, compliance with law, presentation, disclosure of financial statement needs to be checked together. Then at the end, whatever audit report we are developing, the format of that report and the statutory disclosures that are required in that report, obviously we will be jointly responsible for that. Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. All right. So please remember this responsibility division amongst joint auditors, very, 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 very sensitive. Then both the joint auditors are expected to have a good coordination with each other. If I come across any matter which I think could be important for you, and if you come across any matter which you think could be important for me, then we need to communicate in writing with each other. That has been discussed over here. When we talk about reporting considerations, obviously all the joint auditors need to come together and develop a joint audit report. We can develop a joint letterhead and a joint audit report which will be signed by all the joint auditors. Yeah. But if there is a difference in the opinion or a difference in other paragraphs like emphasis of matter, key audit matter, other paragraphs, correct? So I want to write X, you want to write Y, and we tried to resolve the differences but we could not resolve it. Then for the areas where we have difference, we can issue a separate joint audit report. Basically, we'll have to develop a separate joint audit report and I will report whatever I want to report, you will report whatever you want to report. However, the readers of audit report should come to know that there are 2 separate joint audit reports. Yeah. In fact, there are 2 separate audit reports given by the joint auditors. The readers should come to know about this. So there will be a cross reference given. I will give a cross reference to your report. You give a cross reference to my report. And that cross reference will be given for the clarity of the readers of audit report that there have been separate reports issued by the joint auditors. Because this cross reference is given for the clarity of the readers of audit report, we will give this cross reference in other matter paragraph as per SA 706. Yes, sir. So this is an important point for reporting consideration. SA 299 is one of their favorite for case study based questions and also for questioning you in MCQ. Yes, thank you so much.